Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're discussing something crucial for every man to understand regarding relationships. We often hear about the manipulation tactics men use, but what about the ones that women use? It's time to take a closer look at the psychological tactics that can control and manipulate without you even realizing it. In this video, we'll explore 6 common manipulation tactics many women use to gain control in relationships. These tactics are often subtle, hard to detect, and can profoundly affect a man's emotional well-being. From emotional withdrawal to love bombing, these strategies are designed to keep you off balance, questioning yourself, and ultimately under her control. Now, don't misunderstand. This isn't about blaming women, but about understanding how manipulation works so you can protect yourself. Recognizing these tactics early on is the first step to taking back control of your own life and emotions. So, make sure you stick with us until the end to fully understand these manipulative behaviors, how they work, and what you can do to avoid falling into these traps. Let's get into it. 1. Withdrawals, silent treatment, and emotional withholding. It's a familiar scenario. 1 minute everything seems fine in your relationship, and the next she withdraws emotionally, leaving you with a heavy, uncertain feeling in the pit of your stomach. She becomes distant, giving you short, vague answers, if any at all. "I'm fine," she says, yet the silence in her voice tells you something is wrong. The texts go unanswered, and when you finally see her, she acts perfectly content around others, but distant and cold towards you. You start to wonder, did I do something wrong? This is not just a mood swing or an isolated incident. It's a deliberate tactic. Women often use emotional withdrawal and silent treatment as a way to manipulate their partners. The goal is simple. Trigger your anxiety and self-doubt. She wants to make you believe you've done something wrong, whether or not you have. It's a psychological mechanism that plays into a man's deep-seated fear of losing connection and intimacy. Most men, conditioned to believe that any emotional coldness from their partner signifies a problem in the relationship, begin to spiral. This triggers a wave of anxiety that often leads to overthinking. What did I say? What did I do? The mind races, identifying the offense that led to this shift. This is when men slip into fix-it mode. They apologize, even if unsure why, or shower her with attention to regain her affection and approval. It becomes a cycle where he feels constantly on edge, forever wondering if he's done something wrong, always trying to repair the invisible crack he thinks he's caused. But here's the truth. The problem likely isn't with you. Women are capable of withdrawing without an actual cause. The manipulation is designed to keep you in a state of uncertainty, to make sure you never feel entirely secure. She wants to make you anxious and uncertain and constantly seeks her validation. This emotional withholding creates a dynamic where you're always on your toes, fearful of saying or doing the wrong thing. It keeps her in control. Recognizing this tactic is the first step to breaking free from it. The key is to stop reacting with guilt and unnecessary apologies. When she withdraws emotionally, it's not always about something you've done wrong. Remaining calm and composed is crucial instead of immediately trying to fix things or shower her with attention. The best way to handle emotional withdrawal is to let it be. If she's testing your reaction, overcompensating, or trying to fill the silence with apologies will only reinforce the cycle. Instead, give her space and let her come to you when ready. Remember, manipulation only works when you allow it to. By understanding the psychological game, you can protect yourself from being pulled into a cycle of unnecessary overcompensation. You're not responsible for her emotional state, and it's important not to feel guilty when she withdraws. Keeping your composure and not feeding into the manipulation will make you more emotionally secure and naturally shift the power dynamic in your favor. The best way to handle this situation is to be unaffected by her withdrawal, maintaining a sense of balance and self-assurance that makes her realize that you're not someone who will be easily manipulated. 2. Mirroring. Fake compatibility and manipulated bonding. Have you ever met a woman who seemed to be on your wavelength? She shares your hobbies, speaks the same tone, and agrees with everything you say. At first glance, it feels like the perfect match, a deep connection that almost seems predestined. But what if I told you that this apparent compatibility could be a manipulative tactic? What if she's not your soulmate, but simply someone playing a role? This is the art of mirroring. It's when a woman subtly adopts your speech patterns, interests, and values to create a false sense of deep compatibility. She pretends to be everything you've ever wanted, the person who truly understands you. Her goal isn't to build a genuine connection, it's to disarm you, to make you feel like you found something rare and unique. She's not just pretending to be your perfect match, she's doing it so skillfully that you believe it. The psychological mechanism behind this tactic is simple but powerful. People naturally feel a sense of trust and comfort with those who share their values, likes, and mannerisms. When she mimics your interests and even adopts your phrases, you believe she's someone who gets you. She might suddenly love the things you're passionate about, even hobbies she never seemed interested in. Maybe she starts using your slang or repeating what you say, making you feel like you've finally met someone as unique as you are. But as the relationship progresses, cracks begin to show. Her personality starts slipping through, revealing inconsistencies and contradictions. Perhaps she begins to voice opinions that don't align with the image she created for herself. You start to notice that, while she's been so agreeable, she never expressed anything unique or personal. That's when the manipulation becomes clearer. She's been playing a part in keeping you hooked and making you fall deeper into a never genuine connection. So, why does she do this? The ultimate purpose of mirroring is to lower your guard, to make you trust her completely. Once you're emotionally invested and vulnerable, she can begin to manipulate you more easily. This tactic makes you believe in an emotional bond that isn't there, accelerating the attachment process. It makes you feel like you've found a kindred spirit, someone who understands you like no one else. But in reality, she's been studying your weaknesses and using them to her advantage. While not all women employ this tactic intentionally or maliciously, it's crucial to be aware of the signs when someone seems too eager to align themselves with everything you say and do. Pause and ask yourself if you're genuinely connecting or being manipulated into a false sense of intimacy. Genuine relationships thrive on individuality, not on mimicry. True connection happens when both people are allowed to be their authentic selves, not when one person molds themselves into someone they think you'll want. Mirroring might initially feel flattering, but ultimately it's a psychological game. The key to breaking free from this manipulation is recognizing the difference between real compatibility and an illusion. So next time someone seems too good to be true, trust your instincts and look beyond the surface. Only when both people are honest and transparent can a real connection flourish. 3. Guilt tripping, weaponizing emotions against you. One of the most subtle yet powerful tools that some women use in relationships is guilt. It's a mechanism that plays on a man's instincts to protect, provide, and ensure his partner's happiness. Unfortunately, when guilt is weaponized, it can leave a man feeling responsible for emotions and situations that are not his fault. The technique is simple but effective. When there's a problem, whether it's something he's done, something she's done, or even a simple misunderstanding, rather than addressing the issue directly, she turns the tables. She doesn't take responsibility for her behavior if he senses something is off, and asks questions. Instead, she reacts with emotional outbursts, such as crying or throwing a tantrum, accusing him of being insecure or overreacting. This emotional diversion serves a dual purpose. It avoids the need for accountability while manipulating his sense of responsibility. In these moments, he may find himself questioning his intuition. He may begin to feel like he's the one in the wrong. She flips the script, turning the tables so he feels guilty for even bringing up the issue, and because she plays the victim so convincingly, he apologizes, even when she is at fault. This is the core of emotional manipulation. Not only does she avoid facing her actions, but she shifts the blame onto him in a way that undermines his perception of the situation. This manipulation tactic is effective because it creates confusion. He's no longer focused on the issue at hand. Instead, he's focused on how to make her feel better to avoid upsetting her further. She may accuse him of being paranoid or controlling, using phrases like, "You're just jealous," or "You're overreacting," to make him doubt himself. The more he questions himself, the easier it becomes for her to continue behaving as she pleases without facing the consequences of her action. The danger of this dynamic is that it causes a man to prioritize her emotional state over his feelings or the truth. He starts to fear her emotional outbursts, so he becomes less likely to challenge her behavior in the future. The more she uses guilt to control him, the more it benefits her. He's left walking on eggshells, constantly second-guessing himself and afraid of making her feel bad, which allows her to act with little to no accountability. Recognizing the signs of guilt-tripping in a relationship is crucial. When confronted with her behavior, instead of engaging in a healthy conversation, she may play the victim, accusing him of being unreasonable. She might use her tears or emotional outbursts to divert attention from the real issue, ensuring that the spotlight stays on him and his perceived flaws rather than her actions. This manipulation tactic isn't always easy to spot at first, especially when it's done subtly, but over time, it erodes a man's confidence and creates an unhealthy power dynamic in the relationship. It's essential to recognize that this is not an act of love. It's a tactic designed to control and shift blame. When this happens, the man's emotional needs are sidelined to maintain her sense of control. The key to breaking this cycle is to remain grounded in your emotions, trust your instincts, and never let her emotional turmoil make you question your worth. 4. Hot and cold, creating emotional addiction. Something is captivating about the emotional whirlwind she creates, isn't there? She's all over you momentarily, her attention, affection, and smiles lighting up your world. The next, she's distant and cold, like an ice cube cutting through the warmth she had just provided. This back and forth isn't by accident. It's a strategy, a manipulation that plays on your deepest emotional triggers. It's the hot and cold game, and it's designed to create an emotional addiction that can leave you chasing her, never quite sure where you stand. The psychology behind this behavior is rooted in intermittent reinforcement, a tactic used in everything from gambling to substance addiction. Just like a gambler who wins a small payout every once in a while, keeping him coming back for more, a woman using this method gives you affection just often enough to keep you hooked. When you get attention from her, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that floods your system when you experience pleasure or success. The rush feels rewarding and you want more of it. But the trick is that the rewards are never consistent. One day she's warm and affectionate, showering you with praise and closeness. The next, she's distant, barely responding to your messages or giving you one-word answers that leave you hanging. She pretends to be busy, hoping you'll chase her down, trying to get that sweet dose of affection you crave. This inconsistency keeps you on your toes, always wondering if you've done something wrong, always striving to be the one she showers with attention. This cycle creates an emotional roller coaster. When she's affectionate, you feel on top of the world, but when she withdraws, you panic, your mind racing to figure out how to get her back. The highs of her affection make the lows of her coldness unbearable, and this emotional inconsistency builds dependency. You begin to crave her attention because it feels good, and you need it to feel secure in the relationship. The unpredictability pulls you deeper into her web, making you obsessed with getting that next hit of her affection. This is so dangerous because it keeps the power firmly in her hands. When she controls the emotional temperature, you're the one who's always chasing her approval. You're trying to please her while she can sit back and decide when to offer affection. The more you seek her validation, the more she holds the keys to your emotions. This is not a balanced relationship. It's a dynamic where she has the emotional leverage, and you, in turn, depend on her approval for your happiness. The key to breaking free from this cycle is recognizing the manipulation for what it is. If you constantly feel emotionally drained, unsure of where you stand with her, it's time to step back. You don't need to chase her approval, and you certainly don't need to get caught in this roller coaster. Instead, focus on maintaining your emotional stability. You don't need to panic if she's hot one day and cold the next. The power lies in your ability to stay grounded, to keep your worth intact regardless of her attention. In doing so, you'll free yourself from the emotional addiction she's trying to create. 5. The power of suggestion, mind programming. It's a tactic most men don't even realize is happening. A woman casually plants an idea in your mind, and before you know it, you're acting on it as if it was your thought. She doesn't need to ask for anything directly. Instead, she subtly nudges your thoughts in a direction, and you follow through, believing it's your idea all along. This is the power of suggestion. Mind programming at its finest. You've probably heard her say, "I love that dress," or "I've never had a man buy me something like that." At first, these comments might seem like innocent statements, but if you pay close attention, you'll start to notice the pattern. The repetition of such remarks is the key. It's not a direct request, but a subtle seed being planted. Over time, as she continues to mention things she desires in passing, you begin to feel the urge to fulfill those desires without ever being explicitly asked. The genius of this tactic is that you think it's your idea. You don't feel pressured or manipulated. Instead, you feel a natural drive to make her happy, to do something she hasn't directly asked for but has hinted at. "I wish someone would surprise me with this," is a perfect example of the statement that gets you thinking, "I could be that someone. I'll make this happen." This technique works because it triggers a psychological response. By casually mentioning things she desires, she creates a sense of importance around those desires. The more you hear it, the more you internalize it. It's a soft suggestion, but with enough repetition, it lodges itself in your mind and eventually becomes something you feel compelled to act on. The beauty of this method is that she gets what she wants without asking for it. There's no demand, no request, just a gentle suggestion that gets you to do what she wants in a way that feels natural and entirely your own decision. And by doing so, she also makes you feel good about it. You don't just give her what she's been hinting at, You feel satisfied because it came from you. You feel appreciated, critical, and connected to her, driven by your choices. The art of suggestion isn't about manipulation. It's about creating a bond through subtle influence. By planting small thoughts in your mind, she makes you feel like the hero and ensures that giving feels genuine and voluntary. It's an elegant dance of words and emotions, where the power lies in the unspoken connection that blooms between the two of you. Sixth, of love bombing, fast-tracking emotional control. At the beginning of a relationship, everything feels magical. She showers you with affection, compliments, and attention that feels almost too good to be true. Her messages flood your phone, her words make you feel special, and the pace of the relationship moves fast, faster than you've experienced before. She might even say, "I love you," within the first few weeks, making you feel like you've found someone who truly understands you. But what feels like the start of a perfect love story may be more calculated. This is what's known as love bombing, a manipulative tactic used to create an intense emotional connection quickly, and it's designed to make you emotionally dependent on her. The speed and intensity of the affection are not signs of true love, but tools to control and trap you. The psychological mechanism behind love bombing is simple but effective: rapid escalation of intimacy. She might show you genuine compliments in the early stages, but they come too soon, often in exaggerated praise about your looks, intelligence, or accomplishments. The constant flow of texts, calls, and seemingly thoughtful gestures creates a false sense of closeness, making distinguishing genuine affection from manipulation difficult. She's developing an emotional dependency, pulling you in with kindness and promises of affection while ensuring that you feel needed, unique, and indispensable. Over time, you may start to notice the signs. You're receiving gifts that seem overly generous for the stage of the relationship, constant communication that borders on obsessive, and an overwhelming sense of urgency from her, whether it's an expectation of immediate replies or demands for your attention. The pace of the relationship continues to accelerate. Before you know it, she's already saying, "I love you," making you believe that the connection is more profound than it is. The catch is, by the time you realize what's happening, you've become emotionally attached. You've been emotionally manipulated into the belief that she's the one, and the idea of leaving her feels impossible. The emotional bond she's created is so strong that even if her behavior becomes toxic, you find it difficult to let go. You've already invested so much emotionally. Losing that connection feels unbearable. The real danger of love bombing isn't just the emotional manipulation, it's the long-term consequences. Once the intensity of the affection wanes, the manipulation can escalate into controlling behavior. She might withdraw affection, becoming distant, and then suddenly shower you with attention again to keep you hooked. It creates an emotional roller coaster that keeps you constantly chasing her approval and affection. Understanding love bombing is key to avoiding emotional manipulation in relationships. The early stages of love should feel like a natural progression, not a whirlwind of overwhelming affection and attention. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, trust, and emotional safety, not rapid escalation that leaves one person emotionally dependent on another. If you find yourself on the receiving end of a love bombing, step back. Recognize the signs of manipulation and evaluate whether the relationship is truly what it seems. Pay attention to emotional intimacy's pace and ensure it aligns with a healthy, balanced dynamic. Most importantly, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. A relationship should feel like a partnership, not a trap. Recognizing these manipulation tactics is crucial for maintaining your emotional well-being and self-respect. It's important to understand that these behaviors are not signs of love, control mechanisms designed to keep you vulnerable. Whether it's the silent treatment, emotional withdrawal, or the manipulation of your guilt and emotions, these tactics can have a damaging effect if you don't see them for what they are. The best response to these manipulations is to recognize them early and walk away before they take root in your life. A healthy relationship is built on trust, respect, and mutual care, not mind games or emotional control. By staying vigilant and protecting yourself from these emotional traps, you can maintain your power and preserve your sense of self-worth. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced any of these manipulation tactics in a relationship? How did you handle it? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can stay informed about more insights on relationships, emotional health, and personal growth. See you in the next one.